What if the real reason heart attack risk doubles after 60 isn't fate, but a handful of everyday habits quietly pushing your heart to the edge? In the next few minutes, you'll discover 15 simple, proven steps that can cut that risk. Stay to the very end, because the last tip may be the one that saves a life, maybe yours, or someone you love. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? Number 1. Drink enough water daily. In the summer of 2023, during a nationwide heat wave that broke records from Texas to New England, emergency rooms were flooded with older Americans suffering from sudden collapses, irregular heartbeats, and severe fatigue. The surprising cause was not always heat stroke itself, but something far more ordinary: dehydration. Doctors reported that many of these patients had consumed less than half of the fluids their bodies required. What may seem like a small oversight, skipping water throughout the day, can, in fact, place the heart in grave danger. The science is clear. Blood is made up of nearly 80% water. When hydration is lacking, blood thickens, forcing the heart to pump harder to circulate it through the body. This raises blood pressure and creates the perfect conditions for clots to form. The National Institutes of Health has long emphasized the connection between hydration and cardiovascular safety. A 25-year study published by the European Society of Cardiology followed more than 11,000 middle-aged and older adults. Those who consistently consumed adequate fluids had up to a 25% lower risk of developing heart failure compared with those who neglected hydration. These numbers are not just abstract figures. They represent lives prolonged, emergencies prevented, and families spared from sudden loss. Real-life stories make the data even more compelling. In Cincinnati, a 72-year-old former factory worker was rushed to the hospital after experiencing chest discomfort and dizzy spells. His heart showed strain, but his cardiologist noted one overlooked factor: he rarely drank water, preferring coffee all day and a soda with dinner. Under strict medical guidance, he adopted a new daily routine: a glass of warm water upon waking, steady sipping throughout the day, and herbal tea in the evening. Within weeks, his energy returned, his blood pressure dropped, and he reported feeling 10 years younger. His story demonstrates what science already knows. The simplest changes can transform heart health. The practical guidance is straightforward. Most adults after age 60 should aim for 6 to 8 cups of water daily, more in hot climates or during physical activity. Coffee, alcohol, and sugary sodas do not count toward this target. In fact, they can increase dehydration. A simple test is to notice the color of urine. Pale yellow suggests good hydration, while darker shades are a signal that the body is already struggling. For those who dislike plain water, adding lemon, cucumber, or choosing unsweetened herbal teas can make the habit more enjoyable. Hydration is not merely about quenching thirst. It protects kidney function, supports brain clarity, lubricates joints, and most critically, relieves the heart of unnecessary strain. Unlike costly supplements or invasive treatments, this habit is free, safe, and available to everyone. Each glass of water is not just a drink, it is a daily investment in strength, vitality, and years of life. The lesson is simple but profound. After 60, protecting the heart begins with the smallest of choices. Do not wait until thirst forces a reminder, because by then the body is already behind. Start each morning with a glass of water, carry it with you during the day, and let hydration become a silent shield around your heart. The choice is ordinary, but the result can be extraordinary: a longer, healthier, and more vibrant life. Number 2. Quit smoking and avoid secondhand smoke. What would you choose if you knew that with one decision you could cut your risk of a heart attack in half? That choice exists, and it is called quitting smoking. For those who have carried the habit into their 60s or beyond, the damage may feel irreversible. Yet decades of research tell us otherwise. The body, even at an older age, has an astonishing ability to heal when smoke is removed from the lungs and bloodstream. Smoking is not simply a matter of the lungs. Every puff stiffens arteries, raises blood pressure, and forces the heart to work harder than it should. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention confirms that cigarette smoking is a leading cause of cardiovascular disease in the United States, responsible for 1 in 4 deaths from heart attack and stroke. But here is the good news. Within 20 minutes of quitting, heart rate and blood pressure begin to normalize. Within a year, the risk of coronary heart disease drops by 50%. Even at age 70, quitting offers measurable, life-saving benefits. Secondhand smoke is no less dangerous. The American Heart Association warns that non-smokers exposed to cigarette smoke at home or in social settings face a 25 to 30% higher risk of developing heart disease. This means that protecting the heart is not only an individual responsibility, but also an act of love toward spouses, children, grandchildren, and friends. A smoke-free home and car are not just preferences. They are safeguards for the people who share our lives. Consider the story of a 68-year-old grandfather in Kentucky who had smoked for over 40 years. After suffering a mild heart attack, he feared it was too late to undo the damage. With the support of his family and a local quit smoking group, he managed to stop completely. Within months, his energy levels rose, his blood pressure improved, and he found joy in playing basketball with his grandson again. His doctor told him what many still do not realize. The heart does not stop healing, no matter how late the change begins. Practical steps are available for anyone ready to make this choice. Nicotine replacement therapies, medications prescribed by physicians, counseling, and support groups have all been proven to double the chances of success. More importantly, surrounding oneself with encouragement from family, friends, and healthcare providers transforms quitting from a solitary struggle into a shared victory. Quitting smoking is not about regret for the past. It is about choosing life in the present. Each day without smoke lowers blood pressure, improves circulation, and reduces the risk of heart disease. For those who never smoked, staying vigilant against secondhand smoke is just as critical. The message is one of empowerment. No matter the age, the decision to quit is always worth it. Each cigarette refused is not simply a habit broken, but a future regained, a heart protected, and more time added to life's most precious moments. Number 3. Move with consistency. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 28% of adults over the age of 65 in the United States lead completely sedentary lives. This single statistic is alarming because physical inactivity is now recognized as one of the leading risk factors for heart disease, stroke, and premature death. The human heart is a muscle, and like every muscle in the body, it weakens when it is not used. But here is the encouraging truth. Consistent, moderate activity after age 60 can reverse years of strain, lower the risk of heart attack, and dramatically improve quality of life. Movement does not need to mean running marathons or lifting heavy weights. Research from the American College of Cardiology shows that walking briskly for just 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, reduces the risk of heart disease by up to 19%. Another study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that older adults who maintained regular walking routines were 31% less likely to suffer cardiovascular events than those who remained inactive. These are not abstract numbers. They are evidence that every step truly matters. Real lives bear this out. In Minnesota, a 74-year-old retired nurse had long struggled with high blood pressure and elevated cholesterol. Her physician advised her to begin a simple walking plan, 15 minutes in the morning and 15 in the evening. Reluctant at first, she decided to give it a try. Within 6 months, she had lost weight, her blood pressure stabilized, and she no longer needed medication for cholesterol. She later shared that the walks not only saved her health, but also gave her a renewed sense of purpose as she began leading a walking group in her neighborhood. Her story reminds us that movement heals the heart while building community. Consistency is the key. It is better to walk 20 minutes every day than to exercise intensely once a week. Simple choices such as gardening, dancing, swimming, or practicing Tai Chi can strengthen circulation, regulate blood sugar, and improve balance, reducing the risk of falls. Even standing up and stretching every hour while watching television can make a measurable difference. For those with joint pain or mobility issues, chair exercises or water aerobics are safe alternatives that protect the heart while respecting physical limitations. The message is clear and hopeful. No matter the age, it is never too late to begin. Movement builds resilience, improves sleep, and lifts the mood, all of which protect the cardiovascular system. Every step taken is a vote for life, a small but powerful act of defiance against the statistics that say heart risk must double with age. Begin today, not with the thought of punishment or obligation, but with the vision of living stronger, longer, and more freely. The heart remembers consistency, and it rewards it with years of vitality. Number 4. Eat wisely and limit salt. Picture a family dinner table in the Midwest: roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, canned soup, bread rolls, and a plate of pickles. It looks warm, comforting, and familiar, a reflection of American tradition passed through generations. Yet, hidden within this seemingly ordinary meal is a silent danger: the excess sodium that quietly raises blood pressure, stiffens arteries, and burdens the heart. For adults over 60, this risk is magnified, as the kidneys become less efficient at filtering sodium from the bloodstream, making every pinch of salt more harmful than it once was. The American Heart Association recommends that older adults limit sodium intake to no more than 1,500 milligrams per day, which is less than 2/3 of a teaspoon. Yet surveys show that the average American consumes more than 3,400 milligrams daily, more than double the safe amount. This excess is rarely from the salt shaker. It hides in canned soups, frozen dinners, sauces, breads, and processed snacks that dominate grocery store shelves. High sodium intake forces the body to retain fluid, increasing blood volume and pressure, straining the heart with every beat. The science is conclusive. Studies from Harvard and the National Institute on Aging demonstrate that reducing sodium lowers systolic blood pressure by as much as 11 points in older adults, significantly cutting the risk of stroke and heart attack. Even modest reductions can protect fragile arteries and extend life expectancy. These results show that dietary change does not just affect numbers on a chart, it changes survival itself. The story of an 80-year-old farmer in Kansas illustrates this truth. For decades, he ate heavily salted meals, believing that flavor required salt. After a minor stroke, his physician urged him to reduce sodium. With the help of his wife, he began cooking with garlic, basil, rosemary, and turmeric instead of salt. At first, the food tasted different, even bland, but within weeks, his taste buds adapted. He soon discovered he preferred the natural sweetness of vegetables and the richness of fresh herbs. Within months, his blood pressure improved, and he felt more energetic while working on his land. He later shared that the greatest surprise was not just his improved health, but the joy of rediscovering food itself. The practical message is clear. Choose fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains over processed foods. Read labels carefully, selecting products marked low sodium. Replace the salt shaker with herbs, spices, and citrus to awaken flavor without harming the heart. Prepare more meals at home, where control over ingredients is in your hands. And remember that small adjustments, repeated daily, accumulate into profound protection for the heart. Limiting salt is not about giving up taste or tradition. It is about honoring the heart that carries you through each day. By choosing wisely, every meal becomes not just nourishment, but medicine, a quiet act of love for yourself and for those who want you to stay with them longer. The next time you sit down at the dinner table, Imagine your plate as more than food. It is a decision for life, one that allows the heart to beat stronger and safer well into the years ahead. Number 5. Manage stress and protect the heart. In Florida, two neighbors in their late 60s lived side by side. One began each morning with a quiet walk by the shore, followed by 10 minutes of breathing exercises and a cup of tea on the porch. The other awoke with the television blaring, scrolling through endless news headlines, rushing into the day with worry about finances and health. Over the years, their lives told two very different stories. The first remained active, with stable blood pressure and steady energy, while the second suffered repeated spikes in hypertension and eventually a mild heart attack. The difference was not genetics or luck. It was the way they each responded to stress. Modern science now confirms what these lives reveal. Chronic stress triggers a surge of hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals raise blood pressure, inflame blood vessels, and strain the heart over time. The American Psychological Association reports that older adults under high stress are significantly more likely to suffer cardiovascular events than those who practice daily relaxation techniques. Stress also disrupts sleep, encourages unhealthy eating, and contributes to weight gain, each adding further burden to the heart. The good news is that the heart responds positively when the mind is calmed. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that older adults who practice mindfulness or meditation just 20 minutes a day lower their risk of heart disease by as much as 30%. Walking in nature, journaling, prayer, music, or even sitting quietly with a cup of tea can reduce stress hormones and ease the workload on the cardiovascular system. These are not luxuries, they are medicines, as vital as diet or exercise. Consider the experience of a retired teacher in California who had long battled anxiety and high blood pressure. Her doctor encouraged her to try simple deep breathing exercises twice daily. Skeptical at first, she committed to just 5 minutes each morning and evening. Within weeks, her blood pressure readings improved, and her sleep became more restful. She described the change as discovering a calm I didn't know was possible. Her case illustrates that stress relief is not an abstract concept. It is a practical, powerful therapy available to anyone. Practical steps begin with awareness. Recognizing triggers such as excessive news consumption, unresolved conflicts, or isolation is the first step. Replacing these with healthy rituals, short walks, conversations with friends, gratitude journaling, or moments of silence can rewire daily life into one that strengthens rather than weakens the heart. The lesson is profound but simple. Two neighbors, two lives, two outcomes. Stress is the invisible factor that divides them. Protecting the heart after 60 is not only about diet and exercise, but about tending to the mind and spirit. Choose calm over chaos, presence over panic, connection over isolation. Every moment of peace is a gift to the heart, adding strength, stability, and years of life. The decision belongs to each day, to carry stress as a weight or to release it as a path toward healing. Number 6. Get regular heart screenings. It often begins quietly. An older man in Chicago, age 67, felt strong enough to shovel snow each winter and never complained of chest pain. He believed he was in good health. Yet during a routine visit, his doctor discovered dangerously high blood pressure and early signs of heart damage. He was stunned. How could someone who felt fine be at risk? His story is not unique. What seems like an individual surprise is in fact part of a larger pattern. Millions of Americans over 60 carry silent heart conditions that go undetected until it is too late. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly half of U.S. adults have hypertension, yet many do not know it. Cholesterol problems and irregular heart rhythms can also progress without symptoms. The absence of pain does not equal the presence of health. This is why regular screenings are essential. A simple blood pressure check, blood test, or electrocardiogram can reveal hidden dangers years before they turn into emergencies. Prevention is not guesswork. It is science giving us the power to act early. Research supports this strongly. A large study from the Journal of the American Medical Association found that older adults who attended annual checkups reduced their risk of heart attack hospitalization by nearly 20% compared with those who avoided care. Screenings not only detect risk factors, but also guide tailored advice on diet, medication, and lifestyle. These small interventions, begun early, save countless lives and spare families from sudden loss. Real stories drive the point home. A retired librarian in Pennsylvania thought yearly doctor visits were unnecessary. After her daughter insisted, she reluctantly agreed to a checkup. Tests revealed elevated cholesterol and early-stage diabetes. With proper treatment and diet changes, she avoided what might have been a devastating heart attack. She later admitted that the checkup not only gave her more years, but also gave her peace of mind, knowing she was protecting herself for her grandchildren's future. The message is simple and urgent. Do not wait for symptoms to appear, because by then, the heart may already be in crisis. Schedule regular visits, ask for blood pressure and cholesterol tests, and follow your doctor's guidance. For those at higher risk, additional exams such as stress tests or echocardiograms can provide critical insight. These actions require little time yet offer protection worth a lifetime. What begins as a personal choice, a single appointment, expands into a collective benefit. Each individual who catches a problem early becomes part of a larger story of prevention, resilience, and longer, healthier lives across the nation. Regular screenings are not just about surviving, they are about thriving, giving older adults the confidence that they are not waiting passively for illness, but actively shaping their future. The heart deserves that vigilance, and the years ahead depend on it. Number 7. Protect your heart by maintaining healthy blood sugar. What if someone who has never been diagnosed with diabetes could still be at high risk for a heart attack? This surprising reality is what many older adults discover too late. Elevated blood sugar, even when it does not meet the threshold for diabetes, silently damages the lining of blood vessels and accelerates plaque buildup in the arteries. The result is a higher chance of clots, blockages, and heart attacks. It is a truth that often catches people off guard because they assume blood sugar only matters to those with diabetes. Medical research paints a clearer picture. According to the American Heart Association, adults with prediabetes, a condition affecting more than 96 million Americans, are significantly more likely to develop heart disease than those with normal glucose levels. A study from Johns Hopkins University showed that older adults with mildly elevated blood sugar faced nearly double the risk of cardiovascular events compared to those with well-controlled levels. These findings reveal that paying attention to blood sugar is not optional. It is essential for protecting the heart after 60. Stories from everyday life make this more tangible. A 69-year-old woman from Michigan, who had never been told she had diabetes, began feeling unusually tired after meals. During a checkup, her doctor found her fasting blood sugar to be in the pre-diabetic range. Rather than waiting for it to progress, she began walking for 15 minutes after each meal, swapped white bread for whole grains, and added more vegetables to her plate. 6 months later, her blood sugar normalized, and her doctor told her she had lowered her risk of heart disease significantly. For her, the discovery was not frightening, but empowering, because it gave her a chance to act before crisis struck. Practical guidance is straightforward. Choose foods that keep blood sugar steady, such as oats, leafy greens, nuts, and lean proteins. Limit sugary drinks, white bread, and processed snacks. Portion control plays a powerful role. Smaller, balanced meals protect the heart far better than occasional heavy indulgence. Walking for even 10 to 15 minutes after meals has been shown to lower post-meal glucose spikes, making it one of the simplest and most effective habits for older adults. Regular monitoring, whether through annual blood tests or home glucose checks, ensures that hidden risks do not remain invisible. The lesson is clear. Heart health is not only about cholesterol or blood pressure. It is about the silent influence of glucose on the arteries that carry life itself. Paying attention to blood sugar, even for those who never carried a diabetes diagnosis, is one of the strongest defenses against heart disease. Curiosity leads to discovery, and discovery leads to prevention. Each mindful meal, each short walk, and each test taken is not just about avoiding diabetes, but about safeguarding the very rhythm of life. Number 8. Keep your cholesterol in check. Some people look perfectly healthy on the outside, walking briskly, smiling with energy, and showing no obvious signs of illness. Yet inside their arteries, invisible plaque may be quietly building, narrowing blood flow and setting the stage for a sudden heart attack. Others may feel tired, sluggish, or unwell but discover through tests that their cholesterol is in a safe range and their arteries remain clear. This contrast between appearance and reality is what makes cholesterol so dangerous. It cannot be judged by how a person feels, only by how a person tests. The science is firm. Cholesterol itself is not the enemy. In fact, the body needs it to build cells and hormones. The problem arises when low-density lipoprotein, LDL, often called bad cholesterol, becomes too high. Excess LDL sticks to artery walls, forming plaque that blocks circulation and raises heart attack risk. According to the National Cholesterol Education Program, adults over 60 with elevated LDL have nearly twice the risk of cardiovascular events compared to those who keep levels below 100 milligrams per deciliter. At the same time, high-density lipoprotein, HDL, or good cholesterol, plays a protective role, carrying excess cholesterol away from the arteries. Maintaining this balance is critical, but it requires awareness, not assumption. Real life offers clear examples. A 66-year-old man in Ohio lived what he thought was a healthy lifestyle. He never smoked, walked daily, and felt no chest pain. When his doctor recommended a routine cholesterol test, he almost declined, thinking it was unnecessary. The results revealed LDL levels well above 160 and evidence of early arterial plaque. Shocked, he agreed to dietary changes, began eating oats, nuts, salmon, and olive oil regularly, and avoided fried foods and red meat. Within a year, his cholesterol improved dramatically, and his cardiologist told him he had likely prevented a future heart attack. His story shows that testing, not guessing, saves lives. The guidance is practical and achievable. Aim for LDL levels below 100, HDL above 60, and total cholesterol under 200. Simple food choices can shift these numbers. Replace butter with olive oil, choose fish twice a week, eat fiber-rich foods such as beans and flaxseed, and snack on fruit instead of chips. For those whose cholesterol remains high despite healthy habits, medication like statins may be recommended by physicians. There is no shame in needing medical help. It is another tool to protect the heart. The message is one of empowerment through knowledge. Feeling well does not guarantee that arteries are clear, just as feeling unwell does not always mean the heart is at risk. The only way to know is to check. Regular cholesterol tests provide a window into hidden processes that can either end in tragedy or be corrected in time. The choice is clear. Let cholesterol remain an invisible danger, or bring it into the light where action is possible. The heart deserves the truth, and with that truth comes the power to live longer and stronger. Number 9. Monitor your blood pressure closely. High blood pressure is called the silent killer for one reason. It can destroy the heart, brain, and kidneys without causing a single symptom until it is too late. Imagine living every day unaware that the very force pushing blood through your arteries is quietly tearing at vessel walls, weakening them, and laying the groundwork for a sudden stroke or fatal heart attack. The shocking truth is that nearly half of adults in the United States live with hypertension, yet many do not even know it. Medical science explains why this condition is so deadly. When blood pressure rises above 130/80 millimeters of mercury, the heart is forced to pump against increased resistance, thickening the heart muscle and damaging delicate vessels. Over time, this strain accelerates atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaque in arteries, which can block blood flow to the heart or brain. According to the American Heart Association, uncontrolled high blood pressure is the leading cause of cardiovascular death in America, responsible for nearly 700,000 lives lost each year. The tragedy is that most of these deaths were preventable with early detection and management. The story of a 70-year-old retired bus driver in Georgia highlights this danger. He felt healthy and rarely visited the doctor. One afternoon, he collapsed during a family picnic. At the hospital, physicians discovered his blood pressure had been dangerously high for years, unnoticed and untreated. He survived, but with lasting complications. Determined not to let others repeat his mistake, he now speaks openly about the importance of home monitoring. He often says, "I thought I was fine until my body proved me wrong." His testimony serves as a living reminder that what cannot be felt can still be fatal. The solution lies in awareness and consistency. Every household with an adult over 60 should have a reliable home blood pressure monitor. Checking a few times per week, at the same time of day, creates a clear picture of cardiovascular health. Healthy levels should remain under 120/80. Readings consistently above 130/80 deserve immediate medical attention. Lifestyle adjustments such as reducing salt, losing excess weight, walking daily, and managing stress are powerful tools, but medication prescribed by a physician may also be necessary to keep numbers under control. The message is urgent but hopeful. High blood pressure is dangerous because it is silent, but silence is broken the moment it is measured. Knowledge gives power. Each reading taken at home or in a clinic is more than a number. It is a shield protecting the heart and extending life. Do not wait for symptoms. They may never come until crisis arrives. Instead, let monitoring become as natural as drinking water or brushing teeth. The heart cannot speak, but the blood pressure cuff can speak for it. Listen carefully, act wisely, and the reward will be years of stronger, safer living. Number 10. Make daily choices with discipline. Here is a secret most people never hear from their doctor. The greatest medicine for the heart is not found in a pill bottle or a surgical room, but in the small choices made every single day. It is the glass of water you choose over soda, the short walk you take instead of another hour in front of the television, the fresh vegetables you place on your plate instead of chips. These are not dramatic gestures, yet together they hold more power to protect the heart after 60 than any single treatment. The science behind this secret is undeniable. A landmark study from the New England Journal of Medicine followed more than 120,000 people for over 3 decades. It found that simple lifestyle habits, eating a balanced diet, staying active, maintaining healthy weight, avoiding tobacco, and moderating alcohol, could reduce the risk of heart disease by more than 80%. In other words, the cumulative effect of daily discipline is stronger than genetics, stronger than age, and in many cases, stronger than medication alone. Stories from real life make this truth shine brighter. A 65-year-old grandmother in North Carolina had long struggled with borderline high cholesterol and blood pressure. She was not ready to commit to radical changes, but decided to begin with one promise to herself: walk for 20 minutes every evening after dinner. Within 6 months, she felt stronger and began choosing more vegetables over fried foods. A year later, her doctor reported that her blood pressure was normal and her cholesterol had dropped significantly. She often said it felt like discovering a hidden path to health she never knew existed. Her journey shows that discipline is not about perfection, but about persistence in small things. Daily discipline is not punishment. It is a declaration of independence from the slow accumulation of harmful habits that steal years of life. Each healthy decision is like depositing into a savings account for the future, compounding into resilience and vitality. Discipline builds momentum. Once one habit takes root, it naturally leads to another. A person who begins by drinking water in the morning may later add a daily walk, then gradually embrace healthier meals, until a new lifestyle is formed almost effortlessly. The message is clear. Heart attacks do not happen overnight. They are built silently through years of small harmful choices. But the beautiful truth is that prevention works the same way. One small act of care, repeated daily, becomes a powerful shield. Do not wait for a crisis to force change. Begin today with one disciplined choice, however small, and allow it to open the door to transformation. The secret has already been revealed. Consistency is the medicine of longevity, and discipline is the heart's most loyal guardian. Number 11. Sleep well to protect your heart. Some people proudly claim, "I only need 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and I feel fine." Others argue that 8 hours is essential for health and longevity. This debate has stirred controversy for years, with many older adults believing that sleeping less is simply a natural part of aging. But medical science has now put an end to the argument. Consistent, restorative sleep is not a luxury. It is a necessity for heart health, especially after 60. The American Heart Association recently added sleep to its list of essential factors for cardiovascular health. Studies from Harvard Medical School show that adults who sleep fewer than 6 hours a night have a 20% higher risk of heart attack compared to those who sleep 7 to 8 hours. Poor sleep increases levels of cortisol and adrenaline, the same stress hormones that raise blood pressure and inflame arteries. Interrupted or shallow sleep also contributes to obesity, diabetes, and irregular heart rhythms, each of which further strains the heart. A story from Arizona illustrates this vividly. A 71-year-old retired engineer had always bragged that he could thrive on 5 hours of sleep, claiming it gave him more time to work on hobbies. Over time, he developed high blood pressure and atrial fibrillation, a dangerous, irregular heartbeat. His cardiologist explained that his heart was literally being deprived of nightly recovery. Reluctantly, he agreed to improve his sleep habits, turning off the television earlier, keeping a regular bedtime, and avoiding late-night caffeine. Within months, his blood pressure improved, his heart rhythm stabilized, and his energy returned. He later admitted that he had been wrong. His productivity had come at the cost of his health. The guidance is practical. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of consistent, restful sleep each night. Create an environment that supports rest by keeping the bedroom dark, cool, and quiet. Avoid caffeine, heavy meals, and stressful conversations close to bedtime. Establish a relaxing routine, perhaps reading, listening to calming music, or light stretching, to signal the body it is time to rest. For those who struggle with insomnia or sleep apnea, professional evaluation is essential, as untreated sleep disorders sharply increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. The lesson is clear. Sleep is not wasted time, and it is not a weakness. It is a form of nightly medicine, restoring the heart and renewing the body's ability to face the next day. The argument over how much sleep is enough ends with this. For most adults, 7 to 8 hours is not only ideal, but protective. Choosing to sleep well is choosing to safeguard the heart. Tonight, let the pillow and quiet darkness be your strongest therapy, and tomorrow, your heart will thank you. Number 12. Practice gratitude daily. Here is a confession many older adults quietly admit when asked about their health. It is not always the diet, the exercise, or even the medicine that weighs heaviest on the heart. It is the loneliness, the regrets, and the sense that life has lost some of its meaning. The truth is difficult to speak out loud, yet it is deeply human. And what science now confirms is remarkable. Gratitude, the simple act of noticing what is still good and giving thanks for it, can heal the heart in ways medicine alone cannot. Researchers at the University of California, Davis studied older adults who kept daily gratitude journals. After just 10 weeks, participants not only reported greater happiness, but also showed lower blood pressure, improved heart rate variability, and reduced markers of inflammation. The American Psychological Association highlights similar findings. Those who practice gratitude consistently experience stronger immune function, healthier sleep, and greater resilience against stress, all critical protections for the heart. Gratitude is not sentimental. It is a measurable biological force for healing. Consider the story of a 76-year-old widow in Ohio who struggled with grief and rising blood pressure after her husband's passing. Her physician suggested something unexpected. Each evening, she should write down 3 things she was grateful for that day. At first, she resisted, saying she had little to be thankful for. But she began with the smallest things: the sound of birds in the morning, a call from her granddaughter, the comfort of her garden. Over time, her journal filled with memories and blessings she had overlooked. 6 months later, her blood pressure improved, her outlook brightened, and she told her doctor, "I did not just survive. I started living again." Her confession turned into her cure. Practical steps are gentle yet powerful. Begin or end the day by naming aloud or writing down a few moments of gratitude. Express appreciation to others, whether through a letter, a phone call, or a simple smile. Reflect on resilience, the trials you have overcome, the lessons you have learned, and the people who continue to stand by you. Gratitude is not about denying pain, but about balancing it with acknowledgement of what is still present and meaningful. The lesson is profound. Gratitude does not erase hardship, but it transforms how the heart experiences it. Every note of thankfulness lowers stress, softens blood pressure, and strengthens resilience. To confess our struggles is to be human. To practice gratitude is to be healed. After 60, when the heart carries decades of memories, gratitude becomes not just a virtue, but a daily medicine. Begin tonight with one thought of thanks, and watch as the heart, in both the physical and emotional sense, begins to grow stronger with each passing day. Number 13. Maintain a healthy weight. The ending is this. A 72-year-old grandfather in Colorado now walks every morning with his grandchildren, his blood pressure stable, his cholesterol under control, and his heart stronger than it was a decade ago. His doctor no longer warns of imminent risk, and he enjoys a life filled with energy and laughter. But this was not always his story. Just 5 years earlier, he had been overweight, tired, and often short of breath. Years of excess calories and inactivity had quietly added pounds, and with them came high blood pressure, rising cholesterol, and creeping blood sugar. He told himself it was simply aging. Then came a wake-up call, chest discomfort that sent him to the emergency room. The tests revealed that his weight was placing immense strain on his heart. In that moment, he made a decision that changed everything. Medical science explains why this change mattered. Excess body weight, particularly around the waist, forces the heart to work harder, raises blood pressure, and increases inflammation in blood vessels. According to the National Institutes of Health, even a 5 to 10% reduction in body weight in older adults can significantly lower the risk of heart attack and type 2 diabetes. A study from the American Heart Association showed that modest weight loss of just 10 to 15 pounds in people over 60 improved heart function and reduced cardiovascular risk more effectively than medication alone in some cases. His journey began with small, deliberate steps. He replaced soda with water, chose vegetables over fried foods, and began walking for 10 minutes each day. At first, the scale hardly moved, but within weeks his energy returned. 10 minutes became 20, then 30. Pounds slowly melted away, his blood pressure declined, and his doctor gradually reduced his medications. What felt impossible at first became his daily rhythm. The ending, once unthinkable, became a new beginning. The guidance for others is clear. Focus not on drastic diets or punishing routines, but on gentle, sustainable change. Control portions, choose whole foods, and limit sugar and processed snacks. Add movement that feels enjoyable, whether gardening, swimming, or dancing. Celebrate progress measured not only by the scale, but also by improved energy, easier breathing, and stronger mobility. The heart does not demand perfection, only consistency. The final chapter, a healthier, freer life, is always written by the pages of small daily choices. Begin today, not with the pressure of losing all the weight at once, but with the vision of the ending you want. Then walk backward, step by step, to discover that the story of strength and renewal is still waiting to be written. Number 14. Listen to your body's warning signs. My chest felt tight, but I told myself it was just indigestion. I didn't want to bother anyone. These were the words of a 69-year-old woman from Ohio, recalling the moment that nearly ended her life. She ignored the discomfort, convinced it was nothing serious, until hours later she collapsed and was rushed to the hospital with a major heart attack. Her story reflects what countless older adults confess afterward. The body often speaks in whispers before it screams, and ignoring those whispers can be deadly. The danger lies in the subtlety of symptoms. Heart disease does not always present with the dramatic, crushing chest pain shown in movies. In adults over 60, it may appear as unusual fatigue, shortness of breath, dizziness, or even discomfort in the jaw, back, or arms. The American Heart Association reports that more than 1/3 of older adults delay seeking medical attention for these symptoms, assuming they are minor or simply signs of aging. This hesitation often leads to worse outcomes because every minute lost during a heart attack increases the damage to heart muscle. Science confirms the cost of delay. A study published in Circulation found that patients who reached the hospital within 1 hour of symptom onset were far more likely to survive and recover fully compared with those who waited more than 3 hours. Yet many seniors convince themselves to wait and see. The body, however, does not wait. Each ignored symptom is a gamble with the most vital organ of all. There are stories of hope, too. A 72-year-old retired firefighter in California felt an unusual heaviness in his left arm while mowing the lawn. Instead of dismissing it, he immediately called 911. At the hospital, doctors discovered a severe blockage, but were able to treat it before permanent damage occurred. Today, he often tells his peers, "Listening saved my life." His quick action turned what could have been a tragedy into a second chance. The guidance is straightforward. Treat new or unusual symptoms with seriousness. If chest discomfort, unexplained shortness of breath, or sudden fatigue appears, call for medical help immediately. Do not rationalize or delay. Share concerns with a physician even if the symptoms pass quickly, because transient episodes can be warnings of larger problems ahead. Encourage family members and friends to do the same, so that no one feels embarrassed about seeking care. The lesson is simple, but profound. The body has its own language, and after 60, those signals grow more important than ever. Listening is not weakness, it is wisdom. Ignoring discomfort may feel convenient in the moment, but it risks everything that still lies ahead. The next time a whisper of pain, breathlessness, or unusual fatigue arises, remember the words spoken by survivors. "I almost didn't listen, and it nearly cost me my life." The heart deserves to be heard, and by listening, the future remains open and full of possibility. Number 15. Live with purpose. At sunrise, light spills across a quiet lake, and the reflection shimmers like a promise of a new day. For many older adults, moments like this remind us that life is not simply measured in years, but in meaning. Living with purpose is more than philosophy. It is a prescription for the heart. Research from the University of Michigan followed over 6,000 adults older than 50 for more than a decade. The findings were remarkable. Those with a strong sense of purpose had a 23% lower risk of death from cardiovascular disease compared with those who felt directionless. The explanation lies in biology as much as in psychology. Purpose reduces stress, lowers inflammation, and encourages healthier behaviors, all of which protect the heart. In other words, finding a reason to get up each morning is as powerful as medicine. Real lives illustrate this truth vividly. A 75-year-old retired veteran in Texas fell into depression after leaving his job. His health began to decline, and his doctor warned of rising blood pressure and heart disease. Then a local school invited him to volunteer as a mentor for young boys struggling without father figures. Suddenly, his days had meaning again. He woke each morning with anticipation, his energy grew, and his health stabilized. He later told his doctor, "Those kids saved my life as much as I helped theirs." His purpose gave his heart both strength and resilience. Purpose does not need to be grand. It might be tending a garden, caring for a pet, volunteering at a local food bank, writing family stories, or simply being present for grandchildren. What matters is not the scale, but the significance. Each act of purpose aligns the mind, body, and heart, creating harmony that extends both health and joy. The guidance is gentle but powerful. Ask, what gives my days meaning? What makes me feel needed? Begin there, even if with something small. Write it down, commit to it, and let it guide your routines. Studies show that people who live with purpose are not only healthier but also happier, more resilient, and more deeply connected to their communities. The lesson is timeless. A strong heart is not sustained only by diet and exercise, but by passion, love, and a reason to keep beating. At 60, 70, or 80, purpose is not behind you. It is still ahead, waiting to be chosen. Each sunrise offers a chance to live not merely longer, but fuller. And the greatest protection for the heart is to let it be filled with meaning, every day until the last. A heart attack after 60 isn't fate. It's often the sum of daily choices. The risk may double, but so does your power to prevent it. Start with what's simple and proven. Drink enough water to keep blood flowing smoothly. Quit smoking and avoid secondhand smoke. Move every day. Brisk walks beat sporadic workouts. Eat real food and cut the salt. Manage stress with breathing, prayer, journaling, or time in nature. Sleep 7 to 8 hours to let your heart repair. Get regular screenings so hidden problems don't become emergencies. Guard blood sugar, LDL cholesterol, and blood pressure. They're quiet until they're dangerous. Maintain a healthy weight with steady, sustainable habits. Listen to your body's whispers. Unusual fatigue, breathlessness, pressure in the chest, jaw, back, or arm. Then act fast. Build discipline, one small decision at a time. It compounds. Practice gratitude and live with purpose. Both calm inflammation and keep you engaged with life. You don't need perfection, just consistency. Choose one action today: a glass of water, a 20-minute walk, a low-sodium dinner, lights out on time. Repeat it tomorrow. That's how you protect your heart, your independence, and your joy. If this is your first time here, or you haven't subscribed yet, join us today so you don't miss our newest videos. We truly want to hear your thoughts and experiences. Share them in the comments. Thank you for watching. Wishing you health, peace, and happiness throughout these precious later years.